So let's summarize, or let's talk about the issues that are confronting the ACVIP board, the executive committee, and the membership in general as we have this conversation about capitalization of CBDCs. And there really are some fundamental questions that need to be at least talked about and hopefully come up with some kind of resolution to those. So the first is there a need to refocus efforts to resolving recapitalization or capitalization that incorporates a new strategy? So the strategy we have, is it working? If it's not working, then should we incorporate a new one? Should there be a strategy developed for recapitalizing CBCs that have witnessed a decline in their equity to assets ratio due to loan losses, and a separate independent or interdependent strategy for recapitalization due to growth demands of CBCs? So is it the same strategy that you would use if you have CBCs that are deemed to be undercapitalized because of loan losses or because of growth that they've experienced over the last period of time? Add to that, should ACVIP be solely responsible for recapitalization of CBCs? Or should there be a collaborative approach to the issues around that? And if there is deemed to be a collaborative approach to this, then what's the division of responsibility? Who looks after what? What does ACVIP look after? What does the government of Canada look after? More importantly, is there a conflict in ACVIP being the liquidity facility and the capital facility? How do you differentiate between the two roles? ACVIP, for all intents and purposes, is a central credit facility. Its raison d'etre is really to look after the liquidity needs. They are lending money to CBDCs. Does it make sense for them both to be the lender of capital and the provider of capital? There are two distinct functions that really need to be ironed out. What is the role of ACVIP? Is it to be strictly a lender of capital to CBCs and providing that alternative investment vehicle for those that have fund surplus to their needs? Or is it morphing in to a different role and that it's going to provide capital to the individual CBCs? What role should the CBCs play in this conversation? Are there management techniques that can be deployed to manage the growth and or loan losses? If so, who's responsible to kind of put forward or advance those management techniques? Is that something that a co should be doing, or is that something that ACVIP should be doing, or is it a combination of both? Each of the corporations are independent, autonomous corporations, which means the control, the authority, everything is vested with the CBDC. If there is some suggestion of change in the management techniques, what authority does ACVIP have? What authority does a COA have? There are sensitivities around autonomy. So how do you accomplish all those things without creating a backlash with the membership? ACVIP has been doing reviews on CBCs since 2006. They've commissioned quite a few over that period of time. Those reviews are really about process. One of the stipulations in the recapitalization, the current recapitalization strategy, says that a CBC is subject to a review before money would be given to them. What does that review look like? We've already done reviews on CBCs from a process perspective, but have we really looked at why did you do the deal? Creates a bunch more sensitivities. So if we understand why they did the deal, maybe efforts can be made to change the focus so that it creates less demand as opposed to more demand. So given that ACVIP is a liquidity facility and it has parameters around the level of borrowing a CBC can acquire, should the thresholds be revisited with a view of increasing the maximum allowable? And what risks does that pose? ACVIP's current policy says that a CBC can borrow up to 50% of its productive portfolio. The productive portfolio is considered to be the gross loans receivable that a CBC has on its books, less any allowance for doubtful accounts. Whatever that value is, a CBC can borrow up to 50% of that. Well, is there a possibility of changing that 50% marker to a higher number? And does it really pose any more of a risk? So if you went to 60%, it opens up additional liquidity availability for the CBCs. It's not giving them any new money, but it is providing them with access to capital. to ensure that there is uninterrupted access to capital when it's looked for or asked for by new or existing clients. So we need to kind of figure out a way to go forward. Next, we'll spend some time on what we've heard from the membership.